Hey y'all, it's Desiree and I'm back with another video, and for this video I want to hopefully bring some insight to those who either know that they are the generational curse breaker or are suspecting that they are a generational curse breaker. Are you a person who feels indifferent around your family? Are you a person who feels kind of ostracized, put to the side like the black sheep of your family? Do you feel like your family has kind of demoted you to a certain level, a certain status, a certain position in the family, in their lives, in their minds? Or even possibly, does your family seem to put you on a pedestal out of everybody else? Do you seem to be the only family member who has some sort of discernment, or who can look around within the family and say, there are some things that are not right, there are some things that needs to be talked about, there is some healing that needs to be done, but yet and still it kind of seems like the whole family works together to kind of keep the issues on a hush-hush? Have you found yourself trying to have hard conversations with your family, and instead of those conversations being had, you're once again silenced, once again quieted, once again told to kind of just hold what you have? Do you recognize that in your family there's a lot of people who are broken and unhealed, yet walk around as if everything is okay and as if everything is fine? Have you been deemed the sensitive one? Have you been deemed the one who just can't let it go? Have you been deemed the one who's always trying to stir up mess and stir up controversy within the family simply by speaking the truth, simply by sharing your experiences? Then chances are you are the generational curse breaker. And I just want to say this: please be mindful that if you have been deemed the generational curse breaker, don't be surprised if you do feel ostracized, if you do feel counted out, if you do feel as though your family has turned their back on you. Because think of it this way: the enemy has been able to curse your bloodline, curse generation on generation on generation before you. The enemy's plan, the enemy's goal is not just for the generational curse to now corrupt you, but to also continue to destroy generations to come. So therefore, if you are positioned in the spirit as a generational curse breaker, those spirits are going to be agitated within those family members. Now it makes sense why your uncle, brother, sister, cousin, mama, daddy don't want to talk to you for real. They'll talk to you about this, but we ain't talking about that. Or you know that you can't just come and openly share what's on your heart, share what you feel on your spirit. Now you understand when you come around and you're smiling and you're happy, why it's such a bother, why it's such a trigger, why it seems to cause so much angst. Those are those old, elder, generational spirits who are not ready to let go. That's why the enemy works overtime, so that those hard conversations cannot be had. The enemy knows that it only takes one conversation and so much healing could be released, so much revelation could be released. And because he knows that he can't quiet your mouth, he can't quiet your heart, and he can't dampen your spirit, he closes the mouth and the ears and the heart of those around you. Or it may be a situation where the family, like I said, has put you on a pedestal, and now everybody kind of looks towards you. Everybody runs to you. You're kind of like the strong friend of the family. The generational curse breaker oftentimes carries a lot of burden within the family. They carry a lot of the family weight. Everybody knows that they can depend on you. Everybody knows that they can share with you, talk to you, but they feel indifferent towards you. They may glorify and praise and uplift the things that they can gain from, whether it be with selfish intent or not, but they don't truly value you. They don't and can't meet you where you are mentally, where you are emotionally, where you are spiritually. Yeah, it's personal, but it's personal because first it's spiritual. They click up and count you out because you're a threat. You agitate wounds and you provoke healing just by your very presence, just by your spirit alone. For this video, God has given 3 steps to take once you have discovered that you are the generational curse breaker. 1 is find out what curses have been assigned. A lot of these curses are probably evident to you already and have probably been evident to you since a young age. But truly seek the Lord regarding revelation on what curses have been assigned to your bloodline, because all of them are not apparent. All of them cannot be seen with the eye. It's not enough for us to just know that we're a generational curse breaker. It's very important that we know what curses we're breaking. Which brings me to step 2, denouncing all generational curses as well as walking them out. Don't let the enemy make you feel like there's some type of special power or some type of special anointing that the Lord has to release in order for you to stand up as a generational curse breaker or fight against the curse. The curse is already broken. The curse was broken when you were born. The curse was broken when you were conceived. You have carried this curse breaker spirit since the womb. All you have to do is come forth declaring and decreeing that the curse is broken. And I just want to say this, Lord, I come against all generational curses is great, but to truly call these curses out specifically invokes further intention, invoking further power. As a generational curse breaker, it's not only your job to denounce the curse, it's your job to walk out the curse. And when I say this, there may be a generational curse of addiction on your family. So if you have found yourself in a situation where you struggled with addiction and overcame, know that was you participating in that curse being broken. And I want to say that this can happen in various degrees. I remember I used to say, well, I recognize that every curse that I see over my family, I've experienced to a certain degree, except for homelessness. And next thing you know, I was experiencing a degree of homelessness. And I remember one day it dawned on me, oh, this is that curse being broken. And I wasn't full on homeless, but I experienced it to a certain degree. Or maybe there's a curse on covenant marriage. Nobody is married in your family, or if they are married, it's not an ordained marriage. That doesn't mean that you have to necessarily experience a failed marriage or go marrying somebody out of the covenant of God in order to break that curse, although it could, but it may just look like the enemy just working overtime to come against the ordained marriage that God has called you to. Sometimes the generational curse is broken by the war that we are able to stand in as the Lord fights, as the Lord rips down, as the Lord brings down, as the Lord destroys. Sometimes we think that we're experiencing unnecessary warfare or that the enemy is able to come up against us in strife, not realizing that it's only those generational curses being agitated, being triggered, being stirred up, being brought to the surface so they can be destroyed. Now, I didn't say you wasn't going to have to put in no work. I just said that the work is already completed. You just got to walk it out. And the next step, recognizing how these generational curses have shown up in your life. And when I say this, I'm not just speaking on the specific generational curses showing up in your life, but recognizing how it shows up in your trauma response. Generational trauma is carried in your DNA scientifically. Trauma response is wired in your DNA scientifically. Some people get so overwhelmed, get so stressed about the smallest thing, and it just completely takes over them, and they can't grasp, they can't get it together, and they're not just experiencing it in their minds. It's not just a mental thing. Your DNA has literally been programmed to that trauma response. And this is what causes some people to be more prone to depression, more prone to different things than other people. Because my generational trauma isn't going to look like your generational trauma. But even though it has been passed down in our DNA, we are a new creation in the Lord. We have been made whole in the Lord. But it's a must that we recognize how these curses have shown up in our lives so that we can counteract those things. Or you may notice that you tend to carry a lot of shame. You tend to carry a lot of guilt. Every little thing that you do, it just makes you feel so embarrassed, so shameful, so guilty. Yes, it could be because of what you've experienced in your own personal life. Yes, it could just be the enemy coming against you specifically in your mind, attacking your thoughts. But it could also be what has been passed down through the generational trauma. So it's important that we ask God to point out to us, to show us how these curses have shown up in our lives. Because sometimes we carry the fear, the abandonment, the worry, the rage, the anger, the upset of generations prior. And one of the ways that you can recognize these curses showing up in your life is the fact that they come about in a way that appears unnatural or unreasonable, or they overcompensate. For example, there could be a generational curse on finances, on promotion, and you find yourself trying to start a new business, or you find yourself moving up in status, and you feel all of a sudden this wave of uncomfortability, this wave of I don't deserve it, no, I don't need it, no, I don't want to do it. But it's like, no, I do deserve it, I do want to do it, I do need to do it, I know I'm capable of doing it. Be it there's this heavy cloud trying to hover over you, trying to come over you. That's that generational curse trying to consume you. But it cannot, because it does not have the power to consume you. It can manifest, but it has no authority. Or every time you get some money, you get so overwhelmed and you feel so anxious and you feel like, oh, I'm not going to know what to do with it and I'm not going to steward it right. And it's like, but I know what I need to do with it. But you feel all this unnatural anxiety, all of this unnatural angst. That's that generational curse manifesting, but it has no authority. Know today that you carry the authority. You carry the power, because that curse is already at your feet.